you can get a lot of value early on out of your creatures to be able to break through the handlock. It's very dependent on whether or not you can answer the first couple threats.
Well, it's interesting because I think Rogue wants to be on the coin because they get the extra card.
Yeah.
You need every card you can to deal with as many threats. But I think Zalae would rather go first because you want to get your threat out as fast as you can.
So both players are unhappy.
Right. Or mutually happy, or mutually dissatisfied.
Okay, that's a better way to put it.
Because at least the other person didn't get what they wanted. Because handlock going first, you get to drop the threat a little bit quicker. And then you get the turn 4. Not to mention that it's always like this awkward thing where like you have the coins, so sometimes turn 3 you don't do anything.
Yeah.
Oh, he has Sabotage.
And Sap.
Yeah, Sap does give him some stall time.
It doesn't necessarily have to be in your opening hand, though. Sap is usually like a tool for later on in the game for rogue decks to be able to push through. Eviscerate's okay as well. But he needs a body.
Do you attack with this weapon?
No.
I mean, what are you going to do on turn 3?
I guess so. And if you draw Deadly Poison and need to use it for any reason, you can always weapon up again. I think the damage just doesn't matter as much.
It's not really about that one damage, right?
Yeah.
In Miracle, it often is. In a Miracle, that's considered a misplay. You ask some Miracle specialists who are very hyped and RDU and like Tare and all them. They always value that one extra damage a lot of times.
Yeah. But this deck is more control-ish. So sometimes that one extra damage won't even come into play.
Yep. Well, you don't have a way to deal with this cleanly.
Sabotage is pretty clean.
Well, I mean, sorry, besides Sabotage.
Okay.
I meant like with Eviscerates.
While saving Sabotage for like a bigger threat later on.
Because you want to avoid using Sabotage as best as you can.
Well, now he's in the same exact position.
Well, he's got a mana more this time. And maybe he can fight a little bit cleaner, or a little bit better with Violet Teacher on board, but it still doesn't feel very good. Might need a cycle of Phantom Knives as well.
Yeah, I'd say so. Because he's thinking the only real options are to try and cycle with Phantom Knives, or to just play the Violet Teacher. But the Violet Teacher would just get eaten by Twilight Drake plus a Mortal Coil.
But it's 3 damage, so then an Eviscerate plus the Phantom Knives gets rid of it.
That's true.
This is where getting at the threat first is really powerful, because if Hyped had the ability to play Violet Teacher beforehand, then this would have been different.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a slap in the face for Hyped. The backstab coming in right now.
He would have had the perfect amount of damage to be able to take that out if backstab was already in his hand. Huh.
Well, this hand's not looking that impressive, so Zalae will tap, most likely. And it's okay, because he did give up his coin, but it ended up being perfectly fine out the Drake. Being drawn off the top. That second Drake is pretty devastating for Hyped and very good for Zalae.
Hype needs like a big swing card if another threat comes out, because right now he's it feels like he's stagnating a little bit because he hasn't thrown out, doesn't have a threat on the board. Zalae has initiative here. If something big was to come out there, or something relatively big.
Oh, interesting. So Zalae wants to vary up the threat levels and try and force Hype to spend a lot of his cards here. Unfortunately for Hyped, he's just got a simple Sap, which can definitely disrupt that Ancient Watcher, so I think sapping that Ancient Watcher is okay. Oh! Actually, that makes a lot of sense. Never mind. If you sap the Twilight Drake, then the Ancient Watcher gets challenged by the simple Violet Teacher.
Yeah.
first I was a little bit confused.
And he's going to put out some more tokens on the board here. And make it so that if the Ancient Watcher does trade into the Violent Teacher, it will die.
Right. He gave up a little bit of his health too, so that way he can get the 1/1 out.
Yeah.
And a smoother curve.
Yeah, and it might seem like the backstab is preemptive there, but you want to get as much mileage out of your Violent Teachers as possible. And he knows that there's a high likelihood that it's going to die this turn. So he wants to preemptively get that 1/1 out and bring that Ancient Watcher down to size.
He's going to try to pave the way for as clean Dr. Boom as possible. So, scrubbing it at the floor as aggressively as he can.
I'm picturing him actually doing that.
Hyped? No, he's above that. He's a prince. He wouldn't be caught doing Cinderella's dirty work.
Prince hyped. He's very prince-like.
It's the hair. Well, Zalae, the only way you can deal with this Violent Teacher is the Dark Bomb and give up your Ancient Watcher. Oh! Guess he's just going to play his Twilight Drake with that tap.
Okay.
So maybe he can win just through raw pressure. That's what he feels like at this stage. Can Hyped utilize these Fan of Knives, Eviscerate, or even the Azure Drake? That's 5 damage to the Drake. It'll have 4 health left. Yeah, you can take it out. It's too bad he doesn't have enough more mana to do everything here.
Yeah. I mean, he could draw into a prep with the Azure Drake. But that's, I mean, you're not relying on that, so it's not too risky to, like, try and go for something like that, but... Because if you Azure Drake and then Eviscerate, you're still able to deal with it.
It's too idealistic to just drop Dr. Boom. Because then he has Big Game Hunter and then, like, deals with a bunch of stuff that you have.
Yeah. But it might feel okay to just play Dr. Boom just because it fits the curve so nicely. Playing Dr. Boom on turn 7 is really clean.
The nice thing about Dr. Boom is you don't have to give up your Violet Teacher health. You can just use your weapon. Again, you're investing a lot of your health into the board state. So if it ever gets crushed once, Rogue's going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but you can't really... You can't not do that because you're just giving up so much. You have to make all of your stuff go further because the Warlock stuff is going to go further. Innately, just the Warlock stuff is going to go further than yours. So you have to use your health as a resource.
2 Molten Giants that can't get played and a Jiraxis. Like, Zalae sitting with 3 dead cards in his hand. Everything is also, like, everything else is very slow and defensive. There's not even a clean Shadow Flame play right now.
Yeah.
Unless you want to invest Dark Bomb and Shadow Flame, in which case you give initiative back. You finally give initiative to Rogue, which is what it's wanted. Not to mention, you're also going to be taking a lot of damage from the boom bots.
Maybe you're okay with that because you'll get closer to your Molten Giants.
I mean, you are and you aren't at the same time. It's just you don't want Rogue to take the initiative and then start threatening to go past, because what if the bots do 1-1 damage? Like, and then you're at 9. You can't even play Molten Giants next turn.
Yeah, I think you still have to go for it here.
Yikes. Effectively
Close.
the same thing.
Yeah.
So then this gives Hype the ability to drop the Drake. And eventually start pushing for an opportunity to maybe threaten lethal. You hesitate to think about the sprint, of course,
yeah,
but you don't really need to.
And he might even think about cycling even more.
I definitely would like to weapon up here. Just because you have, you might need that mana next turn if you want to do something minion-wise. Because, like, now you can't, like, the weapon costs 2 mana and you might need to use it to try to push out something else. Plus, it combos really well with Violet Teacher and getting minions out.
Yeah.
Or even Fan of Knives plus Eviscerate.
I just think he's not too happy with his hand.
It definitely isn't a very appealing hand.
Yeah. And Fan of Knives, especially in this matchup, can feel so hard to weave in later on. Because you're not holding on to it for like a specific counter to anything. And yeah, it just feels... It feels icky.
Prep fan. See, hold on. How much damage does he have, actually? He's got 9, 12, 14 damage.
I think it might be.
Oh, wait, he's got Blade Flurry. That's lethal.
That's lethal. Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
He saw it immediately.
That's crazy.
That's so much damage.
It's like you wasn't expecting it because of the spell power, but it actually allows him to reach. And Hype's going to move on to the finals off the back of his Rogue deck that won 4 games today.
Wow. Yeah, this
Rogue deck's undefeated.
and that's just the power of this Rogue deck, I think, and how strong it is against Handlock now.
Very surprising.
Sabotage is such a great card in that matchup because it allowed him to deal with that first Drake. Imagine if he didn't have Sabotage. Then 2 Drakes would have come out back to back. He wouldn't have had a clean weight. He might have been able to deal with 1, but he definitely would have been able to deal with the second. So he's really comfortable in that matchup as well because he does not hesitate to pick Rogue when he is pretty sure that his opponent is going to go for the Handlock.
Every single Handlock game he's played against with this Rogue, it's always been like exact lethal, and he didn't have any wiggle room elsewise. And
Calculated.
well, in the very beginning of the game, I said, would that 1 damage matter? It didn't, but
it could have.
It sometimes does.
Yeah.
It's the fact that it could have. You know, if the bombs end up being super unlucky and rolled 1-1, and he didn't have the ability to do that little damage, things could have panned out differently. So a lot of cool stuff and different outcomes here today, but in the end, we have our first finalist of the day here, and it's Hype from Tempo Storm. Zalae once again stopped at the semifinals, but he'll be back next week to take on what seems to be that semifinal challenge that he can't get past.
He's racking up points, though,
He
and
is.
that's a big thing. So if he keeps getting invited back week after week, and 2 more weeks remaining, I do believe, and keeps getting points week after week, there's a good chance that he'll find himself in that top 8. And I apologize, Frodan. I lost your card. I have no idea where it went.
What? Dude,
I
come
literally
on, man.
have no idea where it
All right,
went.
do you want my here's my actual notes.
Okay, this is gonna
I don't need him. I don't need him.
disappear.
We want to thank our sponsors at esl.gg/Newegg Esports, who brought you that series. They also support a lot of what we're doing, so you can check out all their cool products at that link below here. And you can check out all kinds of cool stuff for Cooler Master, Crucial, Western Digital, and just explore the Newegg website. They help